just bring up the whole thing as one and just say,
I hand it over as one, or Steve hands it over as one.
oh, I see.
You must
Got it.
individually.
Perfect. Got it.
Do you know what I mean?
Just to
I'm
quickly.
behind you,
Sure.
as you stop it. Turn around, and if you don't mind, then
Yeah, that's me. I'd be missing something.
I'm gonna leave that with you, because I'm gonna go up there, okay?
Yep.
Do you want me to use one? You will. Okay. Give us that one. I think I'll look at it now. Got it.
According to that clock, it's time. All right. Are we ready on everything, video and all that?
Sir.
Okay, great. All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Steve DeLaRoche. I'm the Special Code Enforcement Magistrate for the City of Daytona Beach Shores, and these are code enforcement hearings. The way the hearings are conducted is the city has the burden of proof. They have to prove their case against you. What occurs is the city gets to go first. They get to present testimony and evidence in favor of me approving the fact that there was a code violation. At the end of each of the steps of the city's case, that is, each witness or each presentation, you get a chance to cross-examine them. That is to ask questions. It is not your turn to present your own case. That comes in a little bit. When the city has exhausted its case, then it's your turn. You can introduce witnesses, you can show me photographs, you can show me documents, whatever you need to prove your case. Of course, the city gets to ask you questions. When you've exhausted your case, I will make my decision. If at any time during your case you do not understand what comes next or the procedure, or you're at a loss as to what your options are, just raise your hand and I will give you the list of what is possible for you to do. I can't make the decision for you. I can't argue your case for you, but I understand most people in here are not attorneys and just need a little prod one way or another when they come to a fork in the road. What I'd like to do is I like to call the cases that are here first. If anybody is not here for their case, I will take it last, because I believe if you've come here, you need my attention more than somebody that didn't. The first order of business is always approval of the minutes. I understand that most of the people in the audience were not here in the last meeting and cannot check it against their memory. Is there any good reason why the minutes should not be approved? No. Okay. First order of business is property owner Pirates Cove, Volusia County Condominium Association, Incorporated, case number 25-0006. And I see that there's a request for a continuance that was transmitted to the city attorney by the representatives of the property. Mr. Rondi?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Why don't we start with you getting sworn? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. I see that they communicated with the city attorney, which is weird, because the city attorney really doesn't have anything to do with this proceeding.
That's correct.
Is the city acceptable that I continue the case?
We are, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, so the case will be continued to the next code enforcement hearing, which will be August 14th at 9 a.m. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, August 14th, 2025 at 9 a.m. In the future, I'd rather that they kept it within the correct department because I don't want the city attorney agreeing to something that I'm not a party to.
Of course.
Okay? And I don't mind if you send requests for continuances and stuff like that to my private office so that I know what's going on. Okay?
And if you'd like, Your Honor, there is a representative from the two representatives from the association here. They were aware that we weren't going to be preparing the case or arguing the case, but if you do have any questions for them,
I appreciate, ladies, you showing up. I'm going to grant your continuance. The reason we're talking in shop is it's like you have a problem with the post office, so you call the Environmental Protection Agency. They didn't go about this the way it normally is, and I like to have things happen the same way every time. I'm probably the most boring person you'll ever meet. So you are free to leave, or if you...
were here and found out that it had been postponed.
Okay, if you would like to stay and watch, you're more than welcome. It's a public proceeding. If not, there's no reason for you to stay. Okay? All right, great. Next case is 2300 South Atlantic Avenue LLC is the property owner. The case number is 25-0002. I noticed that in 2025 we're changing the case styles. Any idea why?
I can answer that, Your Honor. We are in transition of a new report program.
Okay.
And the way we input our information, this is the way the program, so you'll be seeing some changes. This is the way the program is translating case numbers. They're going by the year, and then however we enter it will be assigned a number in numerical order. So you'll be seeing that with if there's building issues or whatnot, but mainly for code enforcement, this will be the format.
Going forward. Okay, because I'm used to a bunch of alphabet before it.
Yeah, and you'll see also with the permitting in one of the slides, before we were using iWork, the permitting system is also changed. So we're transitioning, and we can work that out and kind of go over it as it becomes more adaptive.
Is the permitting system showing less history? Because I noticed there's only been one permit pulled on this building in the last 10 years.
It's being, as we transition, information is being uploaded into that server. But as far as these cases are concerned, this is accurate for the case that I'm presenting to you today.
All right. Is there a representative of 2300 South Atlantic Avenue LLC? Sir, would you mind coming up to the front?
And then, Your Honor, I just want to present these to evidence if
Okay, in just 1 second.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Sir, your name?
Kobe Betzalel.
Kobe Vicelli?
Betzalel.
You're going to have to say that again.
Betzalel.
Yes. And what is your relationship to the property?
I'm one of the partners.
One of the okay. All right, sir, if you wouldn't mind having a seat in front, that way you can hear what's going on. Okay? All right. Okay. What would the city like to do about this?
Your Honor, I'd like to ask that each of the documents included in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not by the city for this case, be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate and all of which have been provided to the respondent or their rep.
All right, sir, did you get a copy of the packet?
Yes, I did.
And I see that you have 2 cases on the docket today, which is fairly unusual. Did you get both packets?
Yes, I did.
Okay, do you have a legal objection as to why they should not be received into evidence?
No.
Okay. All right, they'll so be received into evidence, and for everybody's knowledge that is here, I have read every single page that has been presented here, so I'm familiar with it. Okay. Morning, Steve.
Morning.
And Your Honor, Kobe, just for the record, he's not an authorized representative. He's here as in a limited capacity. He's not listed on the deed or the corporation partnership.
Okay, that's why I asked, because I read the tombstone on the corporation.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay.
Before
Before we get started, I have one question about this.
Yes, sir.
Was this property registered with the city as a vacant building?
Yes.
At one time, yes, Your Honor.
It was, okay, thank you.
So this is 2300 South Atlantic Avenue, formerly the SunTrust Bank. These are the violations provided: the weeds over 12 inches in height, debris consisted of building material, dead vegetation throughout the property, deterioration and exposed hole in the ceiling, the drive-through area, exposed wiring from loose light fixture within the drive-through area, dumpster enclosure, fence broken, hurricane shutter broken on the south side of the property, drip edge broken, and the handrails rusted throughout the east and south sides of the building. The pictures that I will be showing you are from my initial follow-up and then my re-inspection as the dates provided. As of this morning, there have been corrections to the property. I do have one slide, pictures that are showing that. They will still be in violation under the city's terms, but they have made a conscious effort to clean the property up.
Okay,
This is the permitting, as I explained earlier. This is the new system. The red line is representing anything current. Anything above the red line is current. Is that
2025.
2025.
okay, I thought it was odd that a building this old would only have one permit.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm used to the old presentation where I'd get a ton of them.
Correct.
Okay.
So the first pictures, top left, were for violation A, were the weeds that were in excess of 12 inches, and the bottom left was just a picture on the rear of my follow-up inspection. Since then, the weeds have been trimmed down to an acceptable level, and you'll see that in the end slides. For violation B, regarding the debris and vegetation, the top pictures, the top left and top right, are of the building debris, of the drive-through, and then the dead vegetation within and on top of the dumpster enclosure. Bottom pictures are my follow-up inspection, and there is no change to either one of those. If we move on to violation C, this is, the top left picture is a overview of the drive-through, and then the pictures on the top right and bottom right are zoomed-in pictures of the violations. There is a gaping hole in the ceiling, and no change for both of my inspections. Same pictures, just different violations surrounding the loose light fixture, the exposed wiring. Top left was the initial inspection, bottom right was my follow-up. No change with that as well. The arrows here are specifically pointing to the lack of there being a fence or an enclosure for the dumpsters, excuse me. And you can see that in the two pictures, there is no change from my initial inspection to my follow-up inspection. Violation F with the hurricane shutter. The top picture, you can see it's been broken off, and there's a piece of metal hanging on the top left portion of the window. And the bottom picture, my follow-up inspection, again, no change. And same two pictures, but highlighting the drip edge on the top of the building needs to be repaired. And finally, we have the handrails. The top two pictures, I highlighted the top left, which is the east side of the property, and the right picture is on the south side of the property. The handrails, the paint is rusted through, and it's exposed to rust. The bottom pictures, same thing, no change to either of those handrails on the east and south side of the property.
When was the last time this building was occupied? You don't know, you can say you
I don't
don't.
have the answer to that, Your Honor.
Okay, that's all right. Never be afraid to say, "I don't know."
Understood. So this picture you don't have with you, Your Honor, but this was as of this morning. I took these as of this morning, highlighting some of the features that have been worked on. The top left is the dumpster enclosure. They have, they have enclosed the dumpster. There's still a little vegetative debris in front of that dumpster, if you see on the left side of the picture. Also within the dumpster enclosure itself, debris has been placed inside of that enclosure. So they're trying to clean it up, but there's still some work to be done with that. The top right picture is of the exposed hole, which has now been covered by plywood, and the loose wiring and the light fixture is, I'm assuming, inside, inside that overhang, but that has been covered up. And at the bottom is the handrails. They've been painted over. They made a good effort to make it look good, and I appreciate that. However, it might be hard to see, but the texture of the paint, it's not sufficient enough. And if you're walking up and using that, you could cut your hand still.
They spray painted the rust.
Pretty much, and it's only a matter of time before that goes into the same transition of being rusted over. So they made some conscious efforts, and I appreciate that. But these are still, we're still putting these in violation because they have not been corrected properly.
Okay, the drive-through. Has anybody looked on top of that thing?
I have not been on top of the drive-through.
So there could be a hole exposed above. That's why we've got a hole on the bottom.
There is a leak.
Okay.
That's the reason. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And this is the order number 7, Your Honor. We are asking for the violations for B, C, D, F, G, and H. We are eliminating the weeds, correct? And what was my other one? Weeds, I'm sorry, Your Honor. And the dumpster enclosure fencing itself.
Okay.
It's enclosed, but again, we still have that debris inside the dumpster.
All right.
And then we have the order number 4, the no fine standing order for the 4 violations A and E to be set forth as a repeat offender should those occur again.
All right.
That's all I have for this case, Your Honor.
Okay. Sir, do you have any questions for the city?
No.
Okay. All right. Any further witnesses?
If you have any questions, Your Honor, the building inspector is here to answer any questions. I'll be calling him up for the next case, though.
Okay. I have no questions. Ms. Herstein, do you have something you want to say?
Brian may or may not wish to call the partner who's not listed as an authorized representative, but may wish to call him up to give him an opportunity to answer any questions you have at Brian's.
That's correct, Your
Okay.
Honor. If there's any questions, we could call Bree to the stand to answer any questions you may have, sir.
Okay. This is your case.
I do have a couple questions for him. I'd like to know where
Okay.
you stand with
Sir,
that,
would
if
you
possible.
come up to the podium, please? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay.
Colby, thank you for coming and representing the property owner. I just have a question. What is your plans and what is your time frame for completing or coming into compliance with this?
So obviously, the minute I heard about those violations, I immediately took actions to get them corrected. Some of them, as you saw, were completed and corrected, but yes, we are still working on the rest of them. We obviously would like to make it right. So I believe within the next couple of weeks, most of it should be completed as done.
Perfect. Most of that work is going to require permits, so make sure that before doing any
Which one?
construction,
If you can point out.
you'll get, ultimately, everything in there is going to, at least fixing the overhang the hole is going to need permits to correct that hole.
Okay.
But I can direct you to the building department after this and go over that with you.
All right.
But just before you start patching things up, I don't want you to further dig yourself,
Okay.
the property owner dig himself into a hole.
Okay, this is the way it works. I give you a time period to fix your problem,
All right.
and if you don't get it fixed by the time period that I've given you, I have to fine you $250 a day. That's a lot of money, and I don't like to do it.
Absolutely.
So how long do you think you're going to need?
For the stuff that is not required a permit, again, as I said, I mean.
No, the whole, the whole project. How long do you think you're going to need?
I would say, I don't know, 60 days.
How about I give you 90?
Okay.
Okay? Because I don't want to take your money. I'd rather that you invested it in your building and your building looked nice, and then we don't have to come back here. Okay? All right. So I'm going to find you in violation of B, C, D, F, G, and H, and order that you come into compliance within 90 days or $250 a day thereafter. Administrative fees of $149.09. Can you pay that within 30 days?
Okay.
All right, within 30 days. And then in order number 4, I'm not finding you in violation of A and E. Now, obviously, A is an everyday problem. That's the weeds. So,
We have a routine service, and I was surprised actually to hear that there was a certain time period that it wasn't taken care of, because we do pay for a routine service, but.
I understand, but of all of them, A is the one that's relentless. It rains, it's hot, stuff grows. Okay? All right, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have another one coming up, so if you wouldn't mind sitting back down. Do you have all of that? Great. All right. Second case of 2300 South Atlantic Avenue, case 25-0005. Same owner and same parties, they've already been sworn. All right, Mr. Rondi?
Thank you, Your Honor. And again, I'd like to ask that each of the documents, including in this PowerPoint file, whether presented during the hearing or not by the city for this case, be accepted as evidence, most of which have been provided to the special magistrate, and all of which have been provided to the respondent or their rep.
Okay, sir, as you indicated before, you had received the packet. For this case, is there a legal objection why it shouldn't come into evidence? Okay. It shall be so received into evidence, and once again, I've read everything that the city has submitted in advance.
Thank you, Your Honor. So again, this is the former SunTrust Bank, same address. This is regarding a stop work order and no permits filed for work that had been done around the time of June 4th, 2024. Violation A and B, it's for the no building permits for the construction, for the walls constructed within the building, and for the electrical work within the building without permits. June 4th, 2024 was a stop work order issued by the building inspector, Steve Edmonds. May 23rd is when I first took this on. I still observed that there was no permits for any of that work as indicated by this slide here, Your Honor, showing that no permits for electrical or construction of any kind have been applied for in that time frame. I do have, in the PowerPoint, there is a stop work order, a picture of the stop work order in your file, and I can ask the building inspector to come up to answer any questions regarding the work that was performed and what he observed.
Okay. Before we do that,
Yes, sir.
do you have any questions of Mr. Rondi? Okay. Good morning. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Could you please state your name and position with the city?
I'm Steve Edmonds. I'm the building official for the City of Daytona Beach Shores, and I've been here 21 plus years.
Okay. Your witness.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Are the documents which have been introduced to the record today true and accurate to those you created?
Yes, they are.
Do the events as they've been presented by the city represent a true and accurate account of your understanding of the facts of this case?
Yes, they have.
And is there any information you'd like to clarify or add to assist the special magistrate with his determinations today?
Yes, there is. One of the things is, like, say the stop work was issued, we got a call from public safety saying that somebody was there at 1 o'clock in the morning. And they
That's
weren't
an
sure why.
amazing contractor if they're willing to work that at that
Yes,
hour.
so Lieutenant Metterside went there the next morning to see what was going on. Apparently, the owner had a relative and some employees sleeping and living in the place. They were remodeling it, adding interior walls out of wood framing, which was not allowed in that type building. It created a lot of areas that are not really easily accessible now, like where they built a wall. They planned on making it into a gift shop. Was going to do a change of use and didn't think they needed a permit, I guess. They put walls for like clothes, and they built it where it's over a door. So it kind of hides the door. So there's areas that are not really accessible if there's ever a fire in there. They've created a lot of like showroom walls around the outside that were not framed correctly. And it creates a lot of safety issues for if there's ever a fire in there, that a fire department goes in there. We don't have an accurate floor plan on our trucks anymore as to what is actually in there. And so it created a lot of unsafe areas due to this framing.
Sounds like they introduced a lot of flammable material into there
Yes.
too. Is the vault still in there, just out
Yes,
of
it is.
curiosity? It is,
Yes.
okay.
And the building has been closed approximately between 5 and 7 years.
All right, okay. Anything else you think I should know?
Nope.
All right. Sir, do you have any questions for Mr. Edmonds?
No, I just wanted to correct one thing. The people that stayed there or that were there, not relatives, not anything related to us. We had a tenant that we signed in basically to lease the property, and that were his employees or his workers or his subcontractors, I don't know, and he told them that they can stay there. So it's not due to our approval. We never approved that, and we never said that that's fine.
Okay, I understand. I understand tenants do crazy things. All right. Anything else, Mr. Evans?
No.
Thank you for clarifying this. I saw the stop work order, but it wasn't really clear what they were doing or why.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Mr. Rondi, anything else?
That is all, Your Honor. I just have the requested order, order number 7, finding them in violation of the no building permits and the no electrical permits for the work that Mr. Edmonds attested to.
Okay, what about all this work that got done unpermitted?
I believe that is from the stop work order, as I'm not aware of anything else that was.
Are you going to ask that it be removed?
Oh, absolutely. Well, actually, let me refrain that. That would be up to the building inspector
Okay.
to determine what actions the owners will need to take to correct that.
All right. Sir, anything you'd like to say to me besides your tenant?
Yes.
This?
And
So-
again, Your Honor, he's at,
I know. I'm just going to allow it because we did it the other time, and it's just easier, since this is Mr. Rondi's first day, we're going to allow for a little different procedure. And since, honestly, nobody's ever been here before besides those of us that work here for the city, it's fine,
Okay.
okay? I'm interested in the truth, not
Absolutely.
fancy
Just-
procedures.
So initially, last year, we opened a permit to add a handicapped bathroom, because the property inside have kind of like a half levels, so 3 levels, and there was no direct bathroom in the entrance level as you get into the property. So we knew we were going to add a new tenant and list it up, so we wanted to make it correct. And we opened a permit to do the handicapped bathroom, which is on the higher level, and also in order for the handicap together, so to add a handicap lift. So that was the permit for.
Okay,
And that was
so that's your mechanical permit. I was
Yes.
wondering what that was for. I understand exactly what you put in. We've had that before.
So we did that according to the permit and what was needed to do. I had a GC doing that. Then we signed the lease with the tenant that's supposed to move in. And as we signed the lease, that tenant, from the time that he was actually taking the place, he brought his own contractors, he brought his own people, and they started doing everything else, which was not under the permit. We only realized that after the fact. And since then, we basically going back and forth with him to correct that, remove that, but we actually also exhausted on our side to deal with him on that, so we're going to take actions. So we're going to get everything removed for what he's done. We're not sure that, obviously, that he will be the tenant that will keep over there, what we will do with the property, but we're definitely going to remove what is there.
Okay, and I understand exactly where you're coming from. Somebody signs a lease, and then they go off the reservation, allowing workers to live in there, and you're not expecting any of that. I get that. Okay. Again, I'm going to order an issue an order number 7, that if there's anything that needs to be fixed as far as violations A and B, it occur before October 15th, 2025. All right, so that's, what, 90 days? Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
90 days out, and or $250 a day thereafter, and a second administrative fee of $149.09. Again, can you pay that within 30 days? All right? Please stay in touch with the Code Enforcement Department, okay? Because if I have to impose fines, you get to explain to me why I shouldn't.
We don't want that, so.
No, well, I don't want to fine you. But if I have to, and you stay in touch with them, I can do something to help you. If we don't hear from you and the violations go on, I can't help you. Okay, I understand what your position is. I'm very sympathetic toward it, but I'm not allowed to be sympathetic when it comes to things like this. I have to rely on hard evidence of what's going on.
I understand.
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, does anybody else have any business? Is today Purple Day in the city? Not for you. Is this like Star Trek? Different departments have different colors? I see public safety wears dark gray.
We're the oddball.
All right, anything else, Mr. Rondi?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Very good first day.
Thank you.
I can tell you were well prepared. All right, with nothing else, I have to announce the next code enforcement hearings. August 14th at 9 a.m., then September 18th at 9 a.m., and October 26th at 9 a.m.